This episode of Chasing the Dollar is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet. There's no better bet than a Sportingbet.
Well, hello and welcome along to Chasing the Dollar, brought to you by Sportingbet. Ben Damon is my name, and joined by Adam Pengilly, who's coming off a pretty strong base after last week. 3 winners in the quaddie. It was a good week.
It wasn't too bad, Ben, but as we say, you're only as good as your last tip. Really looking forward to the Ladies Bracelet heats on Saturday night. It's probably one of the most intriguing series at Wentworth Park throughout the year. Got some pups coming up from Victoria, some from South Australia, a couple of the Gold and Easter egg place getters, and plenty coming out of some 5th grade races at Wentworth Park.
Yeah, it's certainly a very nice meeting we're going to have a look at on Saturday night at Wentworth Park. We have 4 heats of the Ladies Bracelet. We also have the Stayers Cup final, so we're going to have a look at 5 races this week on the show. We kick it off with race number 4. It is the first of our heats of the Ladies Bracelet. It's a pretty strong one too that kicks us off. How do you like it?
I'm going to go with My Sweet Love here, Ben, on Saturday night. I'm prepared to look past her last start when she got cluttered up a little bit at the first turn in a really hot race. There's plenty of speed drawn out wide in this race, and I think from box 2, the draw's going to do her plenty of favours. She should be able to pounce on the bunny, and give them all something to chase. Before that last start, she was racing in career best form, so she's the top pick for me. Going to include Xylia Allen for second. Now, she was the second part of Graham Bates' Queensland Futurity Quinella last week. You've got to look past her only start at Wentworth Park in the Gold and Easter egg heats when she absolutely walked out of the boxes. She's much better than that and a live chance on Saturday night. Going to throw in Purcell Bale, who actually beat Xylia Allen in that Queensland Futurity final for third. She's got a couple of moderate beginners stationed either side of her. I'm just a little bit worried if Desiderata on her inside does jump on even terms, because she can use a little bit of the track. And I'm going to throw in Winsome Charlie for 4th. She'll be rattling home late.
Now, race number 5, this is the first leg of the quaddie. Crackerjack Lil was a place getter in the Golden Easter egg final. Goes around here from box number 7, but Adam, you're leaving her out.
I'm going to leave her out of my top 3, Ben. I'm going to throw in for 4th. She seems like she's gone a little bit off the boil since the Easter egg series. We all know in that series that she was absolutely faultless from the traps, but I think from this draw, she probably is the likely leader in the race, but I think she might have a bit of trouble running out a strong 5.20, and there'll be plenty on her hammer here. So in this race, I'm going to play a bit of value. We're going to go with Corborn Classy from box 1. Now, if you look back at her run at Wentworth Park a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't too bad. She backed up 24 hours later at Canberra and won that race, and then ran sub 30 seconds in winning at Wentworth Park last week. With a little bit of speed drawn out wider on the track, I don't know if she's going to be able to lead this race, but from box 1, she should be able to at least hold her position and give you a big sight for your money down the back straight. So she's my on-top selection. I've thrown in Orthia Bale for second. Now, she's the big query runner for me. She's been racing consistently against some pretty restricted company down in Victoria, has run fast time at Sandown and has the Graham Bate polish. I'm going to throw in Velvet Fog for 3rd. She looks like she's loaded with ability, but with a couple of fast beginners on her outside, I think she might be a little bit of a risk.
Well, race number 6, this is the second leg of the quaddie. Midnight News goes around here. It's drawn box number 6. Last time at Wentworth Park went 29.45. Very tough to beat, you'd think, on that.
She will be, Ben. That time was absolutely staggering last week. I probably can't get too carried away because it was only a 5th grade event in a small field, but I was looking for a way to get a beat on Saturday night, and the time just kept popping up and staring back at me, so I've got to make her my on-top selection. I think she'll find her mark in the market on Saturday night, but I think she's clearly the pup to beat. Going to throw in Tyser Gold for second. Now, she's been racing down in Tasmania and matching motors with Nicholas Jack on several occasions and been racing in fantastic form. You've got to respect the decision for her to come up to Sydney. She's clearly my second pick. Going to throw in Princess Black for third. Now, her run was a complete forgive one at Wentworth Park last time round. She was speared off the track, and let's not forget the performance she turned in at the heats of the Golden Easter egg. She was absolutely outstanding, and Lagoon Luana looks the best of the rest.
Race number 7 is the final heats of the Ladies Bracelets, and Adam, you're very, very keen on one here.
I am keen on Montana Izmir here, Ben, on Saturday night. I think she's been set for a series like this. She's run sub 30 seconds at Wentworth Park in her last 4 attempts. Should be able to just roll towards a lead, if not lead herself, and give them all something to chase. There's no real speed drawn on the outside. Cadence is on the inside. I think Montana Izmir is a fantastic bet on Saturday night, even though she'll probably be pretty short in the market. Going to include Shaker as my second pick. I know she hasn't won for a long time since January in the Paws of Thunder series, but she always seems to save something for these big series at Wentworth Park. She's back in a box where she's likely to figure in the run to the first turn, and I expect her to be threatening late in the race. Going to throw in Kumbayana Girl for third. Now, you've got to respect Pavka Stamenkovic's decision to bring her up from Adelaide. She'll be fitted for the run last week. And throw in Cadence if you want to play a little bit wider in your multiples.
And the last race that we're going to have a look at here on Chasing the Dollar is the Stayers Cup Final. They go over the 720 here, $25,000 to the winner. Now, Fancy Liza has drawn the 4 here. Adam has been very, very good to you, Fancy Liza. You've got to be sticking solid.
I should be, Ben, but actually I'm going to jump off this week, believe it or not. She has been fantastic to us over the last couple of months, but I'm really concerned about the box draw on Saturday night. She's got Suits Us, Smart Valentino, Back Page Lead, all drawn directly outside of her, and I'm just a little bit worried she might get a little cluttered up going into the first turn there and be giving someone like Irma Bale just too much of a start. She managed to nab her on the line last week, but I think she might have a little bit more trouble doing that on Saturday night. So we're going to go with Irma Bale, the old girl down in box 1, minding her own business. She'll be able to pounce on the bunny and give them all something to chase. I'm just going to play a little bit of better value with her on Saturday night. Obviously, Fancy Liza is going to be my second pick. She was fantastic last week, the Association Cup winner, but for the reasons mentioned above, I'm not going to put her on top. Bellhaven goes in for third. I thought she was absolutely fantastic last week and produced almost the run of the heats after being checked at the first turn. And going to throw in Smart Valentino for fourth. He's a putt with huge ability, but this draw is probably a little bit more problematic on Saturday night.
OK, well, it's that time on the show. We get Adam's best bet on the program. What is it?
Going to go with race 4, number 2, Ben, My Sweet Love. For the reasons mentioned earlier in the program, there's plenty of speed drawn on the outside. I think she gets a perfect run along the inside and should be hard to beat.
And give us something at value? Going
to go with Corborn Classy, like we mentioned before. She's drawn on the rails. Probably not the obvious leader in the race, but should be able to camp off them and give a side at odds.
You got the quaddie for us last week. Give us the numbers for this week's program.
It's going to be another tough quaddie, I think, on Saturday night, but we're going to play a little bit wide in the first leg and go with Corborn Classy, Orthia Bale, Velvet Fog and Crackerjack Lil. We're also going to play pretty wide in the second leg and go with Princess Black, Lagoon Luana, Midnight News and Tizer Gold. In the third leg, we're going to trim it up a little bit and go with Montana Izmir and Shaker. And in the Stayers Cup final, we'll just include Irma Bale and Fancy Liza.
Early days, obviously, in the Ladies Bracelet, but before we go, give us a tip. Who do you think is going to win the whole thing?
It's a tough series, Ben, and the box draw will make a huge difference for the final, but I think Montana Izmir should be able to qualify easily from her heat, so I think she's probably the one to my on-top selection at the moment.
All right, well, good luck with that. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you next time on Chasing the Dollar.
This episode of Chasing the Dollar is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet. There's no better bet than a Sportingbet.